Another Green New Deal. This time we're talking about socialism, where you can't own your own house. They make you rent. So what happens when they raise the rent and you can't afford it? So what do you have to say about that?
Well, first off, if you go online, there probably last couple of months, I actually read an article that popped up on the screen that said that basically they're wanting everybody to just rent. They want people to, and they want whatever you're renting, they want to have access to it. So, and this was the stupidest thing I ever read. Well, there's been other stupid stuff, but anyway, that I think it's happening in Europe or it's happening in California. Either way, basically what it is you rent an apartment and then the government says, you know what, we need to hold a meeting. Your apartment is right there near where we need to meet. And they just show up. And when you're at work, they're renting your facility, or I should say your apartment. I don't know if they're renting it from you, but they show up and they use your apartment to hold meetings and stuff. And it also said that other people could, while you're at work, because you're not in there for about 8 hours or more, 10, that somebody, if they were tired and they wanted to go in and lay down and take a nap, they could use your apartment without your consent. But the thing is, the article was stating that they're trying to get people away from owning a house. Their logic was that most people really want to rent. And the case in point is, if you had anything, if you owned a house, well, of course you've got, somebody's got to mow the grass. Well, if you're in the city, it doesn't matter. You ain't got to mow the grass. But if you have any kind of repairs that are needed, most people don't want to own a home because they don't want to have to find somebody to repair their house or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people buy condos and they figure somebody else is going to do it. Well, they also stated that, it keeps you from having to buy tools. Here we have a house, we have grass. Have to buy a lawnmower, have to buy a weed whacker, have to buy an edger, and then if something goes wrong, then we got to find somebody, the plumbing, get somebody come out and check the plumbing, or, whatever the AC, whatever the case may be. And their logic is they're saving people money by having you rent. Well, the thing is, if everybody starts renting, well, you have no money. It takes, you go, well, you got a mortgage, you still don't have any money. But eventually you'll have your mortgage paid off. But with rent, your mortgage is fixed. Hopefully everybody out there has got a fixed mortgage and not a, what is that called?
Adjustable rate.
Yeah, no adjustable.
ARM. ARM.
No ARM. But with rent, your rent can go up. They can raise that. And if you don't have the money to pay it, well, guess what? Now you got to go find you another apartment, and it's probably going to be on the worst part of town where you don't want to live.
I've got a relative who has Parkinson's, and he went into an assisted living facility 6 years ago because of the Parkinson's, and he was paying $3,000 a month. And now he's about to have to get out of there because now it's $4,900 a month. So they've gone up $2,000 a month on it. He had no control over that. They could raise it to $10,000 a month next month, and he can't. Well, I mean, if they did that, he'd go somewhere else. But if you don't own it, you have no control over what happens to your rent, how much you pay on it.
No, so that's what I don't know if everybody's actually noticed this, but a lot more, down here, a lot more apartments are going up, and we're like, why? To us as homeowners, and I know several homeowners will say this, when an apartment complex goes up near your house, the value of your house goes down. And the reason being is, sure, it starts out, they try to have, they check people who are renting these places, and the clientele is usually pretty good. But then the owner sells off to another company, and then they just start letting anybody rent. And then you start having shootouts, people killing each other, and it's constant, and you don't want to live near that. Nobody wants to live near that. I've lived in apartments pretty much a majority of my life. My mom, being a single mom, we would start out in an apartment complex. It'd be nice and quiet and clean, and everybody knew each other, and everybody looked out for each other. And then all of a sudden, management changed, and then all of a sudden you started seeing they started letting anybody rent. Sometimes it would just be a bunch of college kids just renting an apartment, and then you have parties all night long, music blaring, and people screaming and shouting, and then the gunshots start going off. So when we move, when you move to another apartment, I hope you're being, safe and a nice, quiet, and it starts out fine, and then sure enough, it changes. But each time, besides the clientele that was coming in, it also, we moved, was due to rent. They would raise the rent. And so we ended up, as a kid, I had jumped from apartment complex to apartment complex because my mom couldn't afford a house. And so that's the only thing we could afford. And so it was an apartment. But the thing is, they will raise the rent, but they want everybody to rent an apartment because they say, oh, that is so much better for you. It's so much better. No, it's not. I'm proof of that. All right, I'm done.
Well, it's all about control, too, because it reminds me of in World War II, America had Japanese in camps, and Germany had Jews in concentration camps. If I owned something, well, I mean, the government could take it away from me, but hopefully they wouldn't do that. But if I rent it, I have no say so. They can control. They can raise the rent. They can kick me out. They can do whatever they want. And everything is going to that. So if I've renting a place, and like you say, they let a business meeting be there during the day while I'm working, well, if the government has control over what hours I work and what job I have, then they can bring somebody in there, and they've got the place during the day when I'm at work, and there's nothing I can say about that. And they can't steal my stuff because I don't have any stuff. You used to have books. Well, that's on Kindle now. You pay Kindle $10 a month and you get to read whatever books you want. You used to have movies. Oh, well, you just watch that on Netflix now. Everything seems like you don't own anything anymore. You're renting it. So if you're renting it, they can't steal your stuff because you don't have any stuff. And then they can control. They can take it. They can raise the price on this stuff. They can take it away from you. It's just all about control. And plus, you don't want to have to share your house with strangers.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was about to say. If they got keys to your apartment to, let somebody in to hold a meeting, they're going to make a key of that apartment. And while you're sleeping at night, how do you not know somebody's going to come in on you? Oh, we're gonna crash at your house. You got an extra bedroom. Who the hey are you? I'd be like, no, I don't think so. Come in my house, I'm in my PJs, and tell me they're gonna crash at my place in the middle of the night. I'm too stoned, man. I can't get home. I'm gonna crash at your place. What are they going? Is the government gonna have a list? Okay, here's all the places you can crash while you're stoned or drunk. Here's all the places you can have meetings if you want to have a meeting. You ain't got no control. That's a safety issue. They think women are being raped now. Good Lord, and children. You could have a kid, and people would come in and be like, "We're gonna stay at your place tonight." Who are you? Oh, wait a minute. He was on the top 10 list of pedophiles. Anyway, sorry, I got on my box. Sorry about that.